to and how not to, whether you should, and all of those things. I'd like to introduce myself and talk a little bit about why I wrote the channel.
Okay, my name is Carol Berg, and I've written one standalone, one 2-book series, 2 3-book series, so 2 trilogies, and 1 4-book.
Yeah. And I'm Catherine Cook Montrose. Catherine Cook is the one who writes trilogy. I had a series come out before, back in the early 80s, after the trilogy and then Stein also engaged with that trilogy. And I'm currently in the middle of a really long book that I'm hoping to sell.
I'm Hammond. I'm the author of the cop novel, Cop, and the most recent is Cop Killer, Season 2. And currently, I guess that's in my
and there are 9 books to do so far, so I think that's
my name is Wachs, and I started with a standalone with the intent of turning it into a trilogy, and I didn't. And I currently have a 22-book series being reviewed by publishers. So, yeah, 7 trilogies and change. I just finished the outline on all 22. The first manuscript is well done, and the second book is in progress. The second and third book should both be done by this year.
And like 5-page books.
Yeah, we call those chapters.
Probably one of the first things we want to talk about. What is a trilogy, and is it in any way different from what we would call a series? Anybody want to start with that one?
Okay, I'll just because tomorrow I'm moderating a panel on series. And Jean and I think we're both on it. I think series is the overarching thing for multi-book about. Well, there's one book. Who is it about? There's different things. I think of episodic series as things like mystery series where there are multiple books about the same character. There's sort of like episodes where there might be overarching story arcs that thread between the books, but each book is a completely different story. And then you have multi-book series where they may be set in the same world, or they may have the same characters, or they may have totally different characters in the same world. Sometimes there's a continuing story, sometimes there's not. It's hard to clean them. My stories tend to be big stories broken up into multiple books, but each book is, in general, each book is a story on its own. It has its own arc that finishes. And certainly my 2 trilogies are that way, where there are 3 parts of a continuing story, and each one has its own resolution, but there's no overarching story that does not have a resolution.
I think that's what you just said is probably a pretty good definition of what we think of when we think of trilogy. That is a story that carries over through maybe 3 books, and yet there's a distinct 3 parts, 3 feelings. One of the things I thought of when we talk about this is how we can write on. I think people who write on have a lot of character ideas, and have a lot of world ideas. It's really hard to squish it down into one book. So that's where I started, and then I feel very comfortable there. But we'll have more questions later about what Okay. The questions that our friend Rose provided have a lot to do with how do you do this. And so we're going to be addressing that. The first one I thought I would ask, this question I've been asked before, how much do you have to know about the plot of the other two books before you write the first? Now, for myself, I'll answer with my first series, absolutely nothing. Because I wrote a book, and sent it off, and she said, oh, this could be a trilogy. Good. So, that's our first grade.
I've changed so much in how I write the last few years. I used to have to know every little detail about everything that's going on, and it's not the case anymore. These days, I get my meta story idea, and this is the overall story, but there's so many stories within that. And then I just kind of take my characters, set them down, and go. It's almost stream of consciousness anymore.
I have tried to when I wrote my first thing through, I knew the beginning, I knew the end, I knew the characters that were going to be involved, but I put the story I couldn't have them fall out. Then I started writing. Now I have to really try. I usually do scene by scene. And a lot of it is because I love what Joel said. My story is exactly what it is. There are those characters, but it's Wachs and different stories. But I found that in order to not repeat, you get so comfortable with certain aspects of the character that you're probably going to use. As my particular one over here was love to point out to you that I used to say like 15 times. So it's really important for me to do a scene by scene. It's not going out like a scene by scene synopsis of the book. So I know exactly where they're going, who's going to be there.
Yeah, for the top novels, I originally planned for Trilogy of Fiction as I wrote the first book and had a premise for book 2 and a premise for book 3. And my agent told me how stupid my premises were for book 2 and book 3. Basically what happened was I had this, what I thought was a brilliant idea, that I would tell a story with the same characters, but each book would have different protagonists. So each book in the series would switch protagonists, but it's still the same cast of characters. And I actually started writing book 2. I started writing just about 20,000 words in book 2. That when I sold the book, when we started pitching to publishers, my agent said, no, you can't. When you do a detective, because I've got it's a science fiction novel, but there's a detective character, dirty cop, and he said, people are going to, when they pick up book 2, they're going to want it, and you can't move through the protagonist. So that ended book 2. And then I started all over. Really had to kind of develop a whole new plot because at the end of the first book, I made my cop lose his job. And so then when I started the second book, with him being a character, my original plan was somehow not have the detective was a cop. I think I said that a lot. In this case, it was the business company that I did. In other cases, I think when you start writing, the story takes you in the direction you go. So that's a difficult thing to be done. That's a very difficult thing to do. I've never attempted it free as far as I've gone. That wasn't help.
What I found out is that it never goes like planned because my first 3-book series, my first trilogy, Transformation, Revelation, Restoration, I started out writing standalone. This is going to be And I wrote the book, and I liked where it ended up, but I realized right when I got to the end, I realized that there was a whole, because of the direction the story had taken, which was not at all where I thought it would go. There were some things that I hadn't talked about, like who these villains were, and which is kind of like a big thing. And but it had turned out to be the story of two people who had to come together to face a common enemy, and it became the story of these two men, and more than the story of one of them fall and then rise to heroism. And so it was right about the time that I finished actually writing it. I had interest. I had read the opening of it for an editor from England, and she wanted to see it when we were finished. And by the time I finished, I had an idea. Well, I didn't ever address it. Readers are going to be really upset. And I started talking with my husband about it, and I realized then who these villains were. And it's like it opened up another whole part of the world, a whole part of the story that I hadn't even thought about all the way along. So clearly, you don't have to know everything. And so when I sent the first book along to the editor, and she made an offer to buy it, I told her, and I said, well, and I do have an idea for a sequel. And she said, oh, good. And so, and that sequel turned into the book. Then some of my other series, another one that started out as a standalone was Flesh and Spirit. And I said, okay, I've done a 3-book series, I've done a 4-book series, and now I'm going to write a really good standalone. And of course, I got about 2/3 of the way through it and realized I wasn't even halfway through the story yet. And not long as I had to lay the book, and that time I had to go back to my publisher and say, this thing I told you is my book, it's really going to be true. That's kind of a hard thing to do. So each one of mine has been somewhat different. And that book really turned out more in the Lord of the Rings style, because if you think of Lord of the Rings, it is really one book. It really is not a classic trilogy where each one has a resolution in the end. Because it's one great story to talk about. That's another kind of series. And so, Flesh and Spirit, even though there is a resolution, the true resolution of the first book is about this book too. That would have been better. I couldn't argue with the editor after I writing the book. So anyway, so you don't have to know. And I always find, and sometimes I wish I could outline and know where I'm going, and then I could probably write faster than I do. But I find that the act of writing itself stimulates those ideas that make it a bigger.
So, I've got a couple questions here that I think we can go through pretty quickly, but people may be curious about them. When I think of trilogy, I think for some reason, maybe because of Lord of the Rings. But does word count down at all? Is it a trilogy of 3 short books? Or should those have been stuck in one book? And also, as you're going along, how do you know when to quit? I don't know. How does this play out? Where you stop? You think I can talk about that? I'm just going to say where but I'll say earthy. Very and the first slide was the hammer. Very short. And I think earthy is a good example of one that should not have been squished together in one book. It's different. It's still yes, but it's a different stage of life. It's very separate.
expectations are kind of changing in publishing, where the books that I grew up on, they're not published. But a lot of them are. Things like you wouldn't see these tiny little volumes at a standalone book these days in the bookstore. The publishers are expecting and readers are expecting longer, thicker volumes. I'm kind of personally jaded about it. I think that wanting to raise the cover price.
Really, I think a book should be as long as it has and trying to pad it for
shorter. They really don't want to do that unless you're in or stores with the market. Actually, someone told me the other day, I should be Carol Harper. Yeah. Don't mind that. That in general, they do want them shorter because of the bookstores. Print books, the bookstores want them shorter so they can fit more books. It's not readers, but clearly readers are happy with longer books. But I do get pressure to, and I do write work. But, shorter is trimmer is better. The thing that I do is I don't set out to write a trilogy. That's not my goal. I start out to write a story. And that's why I have this trouble with, having single books turn into one, two, or single books turn into three separate stories. Because it's the story that, just like you said, the story has its length. And if you work at making each story a full story with a good resolution, then it will find its natural length and you can go on. And if you have another story in mind and not just, I'm going to make this a trilogy, so therefore I have to continue this, I think
let the story flow naturally, yes, and turn it in so long as that natural flow is between that and
I do think that the industry is starting to change in that we now have, when you go back to a lot of the old science fiction books, they're all published as periodicals, published in short stories that eventually become a book, in an episodic way. And I think that model is starting to show signs of life because of the ebook possibility that you can, number one, publish something at any length, the shelf space doesn't matter. And number two, you can publish it at a price level that you don't have to sell for $7.99. You could potentially sell at 99 cents or 50 cents per episode, or so that it has essentially shatter the traditional 90,000, 100,000 word book that almost trying to, as it talks about our big, very good.
I was thinking in terms of I think Harry Potter really wrote that area in that. And the storytelling that they deserve the longer they so you guys have any tricks of the trade? How do you manage the long story? How do you manage the characters, the story arc? Having high point case stories, got any tricks or ideas that share?
I write special book. Somebody's hurt. What's going on now? Why are they hurting?
I always follow it. If I hadn't done it, I know if I read 5 chapters, I would be able to replace that.
I do need documents, certain documents as I go along. I always have notes before I start writing. I have notes. It's not like I start out with a blank page and stuff where I'm going. I always know what my first thing is. I know what my situation is. I know depending on the story, I know various things about the world, and I do jot those down. And I might jot down a list of names that I like in this world, or I might write down something about the magic of this world, because that I want to keep straight and keep, make sure that I build on this solid foundation. I start with that. I always keep a timeline, because my stories get really complicated, and I have to put myself to get into the right time and make sure I know how long it takes to get from one place to another, and so forth. I keep a glossary of terms that I make up, and so I will continue to use them and work. And so I'll keep a glossary, but I don't make up all that beforehand. And then as I write and I develop more and more ideas about the story, I know this has to happen, I know that has to happen. That's when I start jotting down the story ideas. But when it comes to keeping the current action line, I get immersed in the story. I don't get.
I was just going to say that I think it's stick. So when I plan out these stories, I just sketch it on a piece of paper. Usually one piece of paper is not the whole long. So it's just a general, not really, it doesn't quite qualify as an outline. It's more of a little chart. Here's where the story begins, here's the story ends, and here are the 2 or 3 major turns. And that's usually set up. And then everything else, a lot of that. The character walks on stage, and what does your ship look like? I start describing, I want the full ship like this, and then that, the character starts to go. So I'm not very
And because I don't have that sort of imagination, I chose to write it. My character is equal to also have a conflict. But I don't have to start a lot. I talk a lot about the world business, the 20 years of 90s. And then my relationship starts with an idea. I get an idea and I get it from newspaper, television, anywhere. And then, so I'll get the idea, and then start sketching out who is on the stage usually, and then I started to feel actually like I create. So, for me, the energy layer almost always comes out of imagining the world first. And when I was a kid, I built my own lots of math, lots of setting, I thought, what would it be like if all the stuff people believed in really were true? The way that they reacted to the world, what they thought was supernatural, or God, or whatever, was just real. And so I moved away from that. That was the starting point. And that was fun. But yeah, they can start.
Yeah, I very rarely ever start with the world. I don't. I might start with some aspects of the world. One of my theories is to start with some aspects of the world where I noticed that a lot of times in our society, children do what their parents do. You know, if you go, whether it's NASCAR, whether it's Hollywood, now they're like on the fourth generation of NASCAR, or Thunders, or whatever. And then, but in Hollywood, you know, you might still have Barrymore, but you still have, you know, people follow Sheens and Barrymore and wherever. And in so many areas, that's true. And I said, what if a person didn't have a choice? What if you had to do what one or the other did? So that was just a little idea. It hadn't come around my head for a long time. And then I heard a story. And it was about the last man lighthouse in the U.S. But I wasn't interested in the story. I was interested in the title because I thought that was an evocative title. And I thought about, you know, lighthouses being welcoming to safe harbor and also warning you away from danger. And that's sort of ambiguity about them. And that made me think of a story I had read when I was a kid. A historical novel about Roman Britain, about a young Roman soldier standing in the lighthouse at Dover watching the last Roman ship leave Britain. And it made me wonder, you know, this is what touches us as readers and writers, is what if? And I said, what if, did anyone know at that time what it meant for the Romans to be withdrawing from Britain and West Europe? Did anyone have the breadth of vision to understand what that meant? And then I said, well, what is going on? And that led me to develop a story. But I couldn't start writing that story until I got there. Every other one of my books started with the idea of a character. And that story didn't take life until I had this idea about this. You know, this probably was a Indian man, a real pretty guy who was lying face down in an abbey church as if he's taking holy orders, saying, "What the hell am I doing?" And then I had to figure out who he was. But stories never take life for me. And I really didn't develop the Romans. It wasn't the Romans. It wasn't, you know, leading Britain. It was a world on the brink of its death. But it was something else. But it didn't take life, and I didn't start developing the story. The idea for the person that we were going to do.
I want to open up the audience for a minute to see what you can out there. Got a arm way back there in the house.
I don't know if this is interesting, but it's the one I have. In my first novel, I have a male character, no hero, and the story coach. And I came up with the idea of the people having co-protagonists. I know Carol did this in her MileHiCon. Where anyone on the panel had advice or caveats about going in that direction.
I do have something that I'm struggling with that with my first story. I had one main protagonist in the first book with a couple of the side characters had point of view chapters or scenes because important things were happening when like I wasn't on stage. But then I split them all up in the second book, and each of them needs to have their own protagonist story. So I got what I'm thinking of as a braided narrative with three main characters who are in different places. But each of them needs to have a complete character arc, complete, challenge, things to overcome, and a resolution. And that's hard to do. I would advise against it if the two characters are in the same place at the same time, because readers need to
do something. I actually got in my most recent three books, the trilogy, the novels of Ecclesia Magica. Each one is narrated by a different person. So we see that entire novel from the point of view of one person, but there other people are interacting in it, and so I got to do what Warren didn't get to. But and that was really fun because seeing their attitude now being in someone else's head. And I have done it, as said in the same book. I've had multiple first-person points of view, and you have to, the character has to make that clarity that makes the reader always knows who's speaking. They always know who's doing it. And the reason I did it was because I did have three characters who took very different paths. They would intersect, and sometimes you would see a scene from one person's point of view, and then later on you would see that scene from a different person narrator's point of view, but always with something added so you knew more of the story. You're not just seeing it from this one and seeing it from this one and seeing it from this one. It's that part of the story development. So I think that's important. And one thing I did learn was not to introduce the second point of view character too late. Because readers do become attached. And so if you're going to have multiple, especially multiple first-person point of view, so personal, if you wait 2/3 of the book and then switch, readers are going to be really damaged. And they will let you know. They will go with that. Yeah, I just want to get it. So that's why I was saying.
For me, I haven't tried any of that, but despite my experience with my trilogy, I think my own personal philosophy is anything, you do anything as long as you execute well, you do it. And, somebody reads it, enjoy it, Yeah, I'm going to pull the other glasses out. So,
There is a question on my list that says, what happens if you get to the third book and all of a sudden you want to change something from the first book? I would say there's publishing. Sure, you didn't change it. It was out there.
So I've got book 1 of my trilogy done. Book 2 is almost done. Is that a mistake to start book 2 before book 1 is like under contract, or? So I've heard both sides of the coin. It's a mistake, no, it's not. Just kind of getting more to it. Right.
I will give you just a cautionary tale for me. I took my time with my first 3 books, which meant that the first one went out of print before the second one was finished, and the second one came out 3 years after the first one came out. No one could get the first one, so the sales went down. I think it would be an excellent idea to write the entire trilogy and then sell it.
But I fully expect that once I sell that first book of the trilogy, I'm going to have to complete rewrite books 2 and 3. I just want to have it done for me.
Sure.
As long as you're okay with reading my
I have to get into the room. I think it was all pretty much.
cereal.
tend to have 5 or 6 pieces of process at once. And my goal is that I have a big number of work that I have to put into each project every week.
I got two going right now. One is the big epic, and one is the light part.
Music can also help that when you're recording all the right TV in the background or music on the stereo so that it captures the switch. And help just that.
I'm more like Carol. I'm writing this, and I will not do that. I have had
Yeah, assuming that you're not far enough along that they're publishing hardback and then paperback, is there an industry standard as to how much time they wait before publishing? I mean, say you had your entire trilogy written and you handed it off to the editor and they loved it. Is there 6 months, 9 months, a year, some standard length of time that they will say we won't publish book 2 after book 1 and then book 3 after book 2, or is there?
Very tough to beat, but she does it. But they wanted them to come out a year apart. And I don't know if that's together. Now, it depends on how much you
Mine's generally been a year apart. I did have my British Arnett series. It was 2 a year. They were 6 months apart. But that's only because I have an extra year in between the end of the Ricera book and putting that one out because Song of the Beast came out then, but it had been written before Transformation. So it's a scandal. So all I had to do was just there's a little revising and stuff on that book. So I essentially had a 2-year period where I developed this 4-book series, and I did a little bit more development on that than on others, but and I was able to get them out in 6 months, but trying that with something brand new where I didn't have the idea already is tough for me. I do it here. It's hard for me, and that's doing only one thing, and it's in my mind all the time. That's why I can't do something else because I don't think it's there, and there's always problems.
For those of you who pitch trilogies or duologies or numerologies or whatever, has it been the case they've said, I want all 2, all 3, all 4 of them before I start publishing, or is it you get us book 1 in the year, get us book 2 the following year, get us book 3 the third year?
But one should be done. One should be done before you.
They decided they wanted to do.
They want to the first 4 books in the series. Number 1 and 2. We have 2 books.
For me, I just got a 2-book deal, and
agreeing with Mr. Hammond, the publishers wanted details. So if you sell the one and you got written how many books in the series, it doesn't sell. It makes sad that nowadays, if we had copies, I mean, 10 years ago, it would have been dead. You know, if they had told me, oh, we don't want to especially when I careful, but now I do have a leadership all loyal, and that I can put it out myself if I need to. And I think a lot of people are finding that in their series because it is happening more often now, I think, than we've seen in the past. But that they do have an involvement in the series now. Even in print if they want, but certainly to print it out for e-readers, to get it for e-readers, is huge.
It's for all of you writers
And I'm curious, for all of you guys, have you taken an instant that you really wanted differently or a character that you wanted and just couldn't fit into that book and put it aside and we might not get it from readers say, oh, that's what you first designed for you, that first series way back there or that other book, but I found a way to show more into this different idea because I didn't want to waste that great idea.
Yes. Yeah, and a character that appeared in a collection of short stories that were all based in the same world, and he's the main character of the 20-book series.
I want to let the panelists wrap up if you have any last words of wisdom or advice for whether people should or should not try to write trilogy, or whatever you want to say.
The point that I feel like is, I wrote build before I even do meta, because I started in the game industry and you have to build a solid book before you figure out the rules. So I'm noticing how different my process is, and how different everybody's process is. And if you're going to write something like a trilogy or a single or whatever, just find the process that you enjoy writing, and don't forget that you're doing it because you enjoy it.
And as far as rules is concerned, you can do anything you want. You can build your world any way you want. When you set the rules, and that's what but my piece of advice would be just to write. Don't put it off. Don't wait to retire or chill. This golden opportunity comes along, you're going to be able to write over. Because if you want to be a writer, you have life. And even if it's just 15 minutes a day, take that time. You write one page a day, and you're done. So there's no excuse for all you people out there to say, I want to be a writer, but I want to teach.
It is, I think it is, it's in writing the sort of, it's not about the hair. It's the person who's willing to sit there and plod along slowly, for a steady period of time. Finish the work. I actually had, I forget the writer's name, but when I went to my first con several years back, I was sitting next to a writer, that was his one. He said, the difference between us and he's not very often. That's the single biggest difference. And I really took that to heart. So that's a big part of why I must finish this. And I'll worry about selling it. And then other things. I really had, I started writing novels that was really lovely 2 years ago. And maybe just kind of, And I said, but I haven't finished the book. I wrote the first 15,000 words, hoping that, maybe I'm a big enough writer now that I can sell on a spec, that I can sell something even though I haven't written it yet. And he had some issues with it, and of course he wasn't trying to hurt me because he didn't think he could sell. And so, and I'm annoyed, really annoyed with myself that I stopped writing. And so that's kind of my new mantra. Right now, I finish, then I sell. And so I want to write what I want to write. I really would love this, even if it hadn't sold. I would have been a happier person had I finished it and failed to sell it than I am now having a finished it.
The piece that I found is, we talked about, write the length of the story once it's being, but also get feedback from other people, learn to share your work. We've got 1 minute left. I know that one of the earliest writers' workshops I ever went to was here in Denver, that Brian looked at something I thought was a short story and said, "This is the prologue to a trilogy text." Oh, yeah. But it was good to have someone say that, because I would have tried to tell a short story. But really, it's just,
I would say don't set out to write. Don't think it has to be great. I got it. It's very exciting. And the one I'm working on now, I envision it to do it. But right now it's 2, and set out to write a story, a good story that you enjoy. Don't try to write to the market because you might look at it maybe in the vampire market. You might be tail into it too. Write what you enjoy reading, even if it's complex and wordy, because when I try to, the person who ended up buying my first 7 books, she was on a panel before I go, and before I was going to read to her, and she said, well, we at Rock, we really like stories around 110,000 words, and, something really edgy is different, and not my real traditional thing. Well, she bought my first 7 books. I averaged about 175,000 words. So that was, and I would say one more thing about it, writing fantasy world, don't over-constrain. Even if you do your world design for a friend, don't design everything. Please think, because that's one thing about writing multiple series, is you always want to bring in new pieces of the world in the next book. You don't want to tell everything in one book. And then if it's published, then you do have to say, oh, but if my magic was a little bit more flexible, I didn't really need to write this, and I can develop it in one of the later books. And that gives richness to the later book, so it's not having this fabulous super book and then, so now that you don't learn anything with it, so don't over constrain it. Just think about the things that you need.